I've got a video here from Bellular News. Nintendo plan to ban Palworld has begun. Let's check it out. Oh, I better put my earbud. I better turn off his music too. There, just in time, the song ended.
Sometimes my job's really weird. This is an example of that. I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but there is in fact a slim chance that Grand Theft Auto 5 might save Palworld. But here's the actual story, right? When September 18th, 2024 hit, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company dropped a legal bomb on the Palworld developer Pocket Pair, basically patent infringement on game mechanics. That happened, but Pocket Pair then went and did something gutsy. Before any of it hit court, they decided, right, this is clearly David versus Goliath, we need to go public with a statement. Here is the statement that they put out. It is truly unfortunate that we will be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to the game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and to ensure that indie game developers
I don't like Nintendo.
are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. And when it all went down, the timing was fascinating. Pocket Pair were actually prepping Palworld's PS5 launch, and Tokyo Game Show was right around the corner. It seemed the perfect time to drop things. The perfect moment, of course, then, for Nintendo to throw in a lawsuit and create chaos everywhere. But it was not enough to stop a crazy successful...
I hate Nintendo. I don't play Nintendo games. I don't buy Nintendo products. I haven't in a very long time. Since, like, what? Maybe since the Switch first came out, I haven't bought anything from Nintendo, haven't played anything from Nintendo, except emulators.
month for the company, because rather than the expected PS5 reveal at Tokyo Game Show, they shadow dropped it during the PlayStation State of Play presentation. Japan got the game a few days earlier in October, and according to PlayStation's Japan blog, it actually jumped to the top of the downloads. It beat the likes of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and Metaphor ReFantazio, which is impressive. Their numbers are massive, especially in Japan. Now, we've been in a holding pattern ever since. We've been waiting for something to happen, and that is what brings us to today's development. It's wild, so get ready and sit down. Pocket Pair have revealed that Nintendo filed 3 patents in 2024. Of course, that's after Palworld released, and these patents are all focusing on one specific thing. It's pretty crazy, right? Throwing a ball at a creature to catch it. No battle required, just throw and catch. Now, you might think, how can they patent something after Palworld came out with the mechanic? Well, the problem is, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Nintendo had this mechanic in the wild for nearly 2 years before Palworld came out, and in legal terms, you actually don't need to file your patent first. Nintendo just need to prove that they did it first. And these 3 are not the entire arsenal. A patent expert writing for GameIndustry.biz spotted 28 different patents where Nintendo were alleging infringement. And it's frustrating stuff like running about, transporting your character on a monster. But they're only using these 3, and the reason why is simple. Nintendo want to play it smart. These are the ones where they think they can prove that Palworld copied the specific mechanical implementation from Arceus. Now, they've actually found that movement with the US Patent Office is really slow. It actually may not happen over there, but obviously Japan is where both companies are. It's their home turf. Okay, these 3 patents then are Nintendo's weapon.
Does that mean that they could possibly get it banned? Oh.
Now,
why are you... Okay. Does that mean they could possibly get it banned only in Japan? Because that'd be crazy. People are gonna play this game, even if you outright ban it. They're not gonna be able to outright ban it. People will still play it. They will probably be able to get rid of this mechanic if this goes through, and then modders will put it back in. Like, this really kind of just means nothing
for their objective. Let's get into the numbers, because the Nintendo lawsuit against Palworld is not all that it seems. Now, the initial ask is 5 million yen each for the patents from Pocket Pair, payable to Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, which is a grand total of 65,000 USD. That's an absolutely tiny amount of money, especially compared to another Nintendo victim, Colipol, where basically...
Yeah, but they're not looking for money. They have enough money. Palworld isn't going to give them enough money. They want them shut down. They want that competition gone. They don't want them affecting their money.
They ended with a settlement that was worth 30 million and then ongoing licensing fees. Absolutely brutal, which fits. Nintendo's legal team, especially in their home turf, are basically renowned, absolute legal assassins. They tend to win all the time. Now, that 65 grand is obviously just an opening move in what is obviously a sort of lawfare thing, right? It's corporate chess. Nintendo's not really going after that pocket change. They're playing a longer game here, and it's not just to bury the company in legal fees, though it is absolutely also that. Let's take a look at the patents to understand how Nintendo have operated here. So yeah,
they're basically telling everyone, hey, don't do this like Palworld did. We will come after you and we will destroy you. And I really hope that more games do it. Fuck you, Nintendo. Every game company needs to make their own Pokemon ripoff like Palworld. Even though Palworld's not even really a Pokemon ripoff, I think at this point, Pokemon is a ripoff of Palworld because Palworld is 1,000 times better and 1,000 times cooler.
Actually did file these patents after Palworld launch, but they're in fact derived from a December 2021 patent, and they've basically tailored things for this situation. And an IP attorney called Kirk Sigmund spoke to PC Gamer and explained that this is actually standard practice, where companies will have an existing patent, but then they'll refine it to close loopholes. But of course, the timing matters, and in this case, it really does look like Nintendo was preparing their battleground. So here's the brutal part, and well, here's it in Kirk's own words. Your general attorneys cannot do this sort of work. You've got to find specialists. It gets extremely expensive and time-consuming, and it can wear a lot of small companies out. It is designed to make you no longer play the game. So in other words, you either give in or you sign yourself up for a legal battle that you don't even know if you can afford. But of course, you probably guess it's not just that. Nintendo's real legal objective here is almost certainly to get an injunction. This would prevent Palworld from being sold whilst it's in breach of those patents. And either way, it's all...
Release it for free. Just release it for free. And then allow copies.
Aimed at sowing chaos, and here's the reason why. Palworld could change the mechanic, right, to no longer be in breach of the patent. That would obviously take game development time, and it would risk player sentiment because they know the game as it is, they like it as it is, and if they just have to come up with a new mechanic to replace catching your pals, well, players may not like that. And the real risk here is time, because they would be incentivized to fix this problem and replace the...
Stop giving money to Nintendo. I hear people say that, like, well, it really sucks because they make good games, I'm still gonna buy their games. No. Because they're gonna end up being the only one making games because they're shutting down these other companies that have similar games. Stop buying Nintendo games. Stop giving them money.
Mechanic as soon as is possible. Now, of course, if you want the mechanic to be good, to be well play tested, you will take your time and get it right. But if you're in breach, if there's an injunction, you can't really afford to do that because it's blocking your game from sale. Or, of course, you could give in, and you could agree to license the patent from Nintendo. But the message, as Kirk puts it, is clear. Quote, for them, this is a massive target they need to declare. Don't do this to us ever again. One could speculate they'd probably do the same thing to any company that came too close to the main line, especially when they perceived it to possibly infringe their IP. That's what Kirk said. And this is absolutely Nintendo sending a warning shot across the bow of the entire industry. It is them hitting Pocket Pair right when they are trying to seize their opportunity. And that includes things like, yes, the PlayStation relationship, but also plans that could see their IP be expanded, just like Pokemon was. And I think that is the real thing that Nintendo are worried about here. Palworld is scrappy, right? And I think we all know that it is taking commonly appreciated elements from all over the place and putting them into something. And Nintendo are probably realizing, this could be a little bit of a problem, because we've basically sat on top of Pokemon. We've done a pretty bad job, all things considered, Pokemon Company as well, for years and years and years and years. What if somebody else is actually able to fight us by making a better Pokemon-like experience? I think that is why Nintendo are trying to do what they do. But I did say there's more than that, and I mentioned Grand Theft Auto. I didn't think Grand Theft Auto would be involved, but kind of is. So this is Nintendo locking things down on their home turf, but it probably won't have that much impact on the broader industry, the global industry, if Nintendo cannot get the American patent system to agree with them, and at the very least we know that's been a way slower process. But, of course, the principle here is an important thing, and there's actually a long shot that was proposed by a patent attorney in Nikkei Business. This is absolutely amazing, and I love it. They pointed out that while Nintendo's patents for catching monsters in an open field, might have been filed as far back as December 2021 in its, first incarnation, well, they may not actually have the first instance of that mechanic, and that's because of this. This, everybody, is Pokemon Go in Grand Theft Auto 5, done 8 years ago in 2016. Now, remember, how precedence in the actual market with a product, well, that means that Arceus would trump Palworld in terms of filing those patents. Well, as is put here in Nikkei Business, this would mean that because of this mod for GTA, there is an established usage that basically would mean Nintendo shouldn't have been able to file their patent because they didn't create the mechanics, because it was inspired by Pokemon Go, but it was different, and it was there in a GTA mod. It was there.
Yeah, because it is a basic ass mechanic that anybody could think of and come up with. You can't patent that. And if you can, then the gaming industry is fucked. Because then we're just going to have game companies patenting their special game mechanics left and right. I already think it's bad enough that Shadow of Mordor has patented their stupid little Nemesis system. Garbage. I think that companies should say fuck you and in droves make copies of it.
On the market. And that means that Pokemon and guns may save the game with Pokemon and guns.
I think we're actually entering an era of punk rock versions of video games. I am seeing people, so many people, indie developers coming out of the works. Like, people like me just making video games in their off time. And they're good. And you will see people make games based off of these patents out of spite. Because, fuck you, don't tell me what to do.
Which is absolutely insane. But okay. A wild story, and to be honest with you, I really hope Nintendo lose here. Patenting game mechanics is risky business, and one of the worst examples we saw of that was the Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War series. They're pretty good games, the second one quite a bit less because they tried to ruin that with monetization, but the amazing thing was the Nemesis system. The problem is, the Nemesis system was patented such that if you do something with a Nemesis system-like thing, and look, if it's an indie, sure, they'll probably not notice, but maybe if it gets noticed enough, Warner Brothers games will just be able to take you to court. And I don't think any of us can really, afford to battle with Warner Brothers as bloody lawyers. Yeah, this stuff sucks. Good luck to them. That's it for this video, and for more news, check this one out next.
Nintendo is garbage, like I said. Stop buying their games. Stop buying their products. Because they are anti-consumer. They are anti-internet celebrity. They are anti-influencer. They are anti-everything that does not make Nintendo more money and be king of video games. And they are not the king of video games. But they're sitting on the throne because they stole it. And I think we need to kick them off the throne. As we the people. By the way, I am creating my own game company because I have been working on a video game that I will probably talk more about in a few months. It's just a small little game. It doesn't have a story or anything, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Base building type, RPG type.